But we should not remove a gecko from an office and bring a python in the name of that guy has a different name. Like now, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, when he brings in Matiangi, tell me, what value do you think we are going to have?
Okay, as well as you know always, I'm George Omollo. Aliet is the chief whip of Bunge la Mwananchi Kenya, but of course I double up as the chairman of Kenya Youth Economic Empowerment Organization. That's why at one point you get me discussing much about respect or discipline when it comes to the family setup. Today I have some few comments I want to make, but they are geared towards not fixing the nation, but fixing the Kenyans' mindset. I think at one point the nation fixing emanates from our mental standards. So it calls equally for us to refresh our emotional intelligence. Because if you see how Kenyans behaves, basically many a times it comes from the mental aspect. People have a lot of social pressure, either imaginary or factual. That is making them not to understand how the government runs and or how the society is being developed. A quick one. I think we are at the verge of completing the body that is mandated to run our election every 5 years. And God willing, I believe they are going to give us the best, because the candidates who fronted themselves to be interviewed are equals. It is only upon them now to give us the best based on their validation as a panel. Having said that, let me say as Kenyans, I think it is only moral for us to make the government be on toes. However much, like from my end, I support them. Not because it is the best, but it is because, according to me, they surpasses my expectation. Because literally, you don't expect leadership to be 100%, because the unit governing is always collegiate. It is not an individual responsibility. And so, that one makes me to come to a point of trying to request our leadership to think the Namibian way. Like, if you see, the current president of Namibia is a feminine. Nandaiwa ni mwanamke. But the shortest time that lady has taken the throne is made a raft measures in terms of decision making. One, the lady decided to argue out that globally we are equal, irrespective of the race. And so he did decide that if Americans want Africans or Namibians for that matter to access their territory by having visa, then equally Americans also should have visa to access Namibia. And that one made the lady to fuck off or flag off 500 Americans to go back to America. I think that's a role model. Then equally, if you check the way that lady talks, she did give the ministers opportunity. They immediately walked in. I told them, I'm not going to fire you, but what you are going to do will dictate whether you will remain in the government or you will have to go. And with that one alone, she decided to ensure that she's going to have a lean cabinet from 21 to 14. So these are a raft of measures that are being given out through the presidential decree. And so I even expect our president to go that route, for us to get value for money, being we are a young economy, so that the citizenry cannot get the pinch. The same is applicable when you go to Burkina Faso. However much Ibrahim Traore is a military leader, but if you see the way the guy is working, it is a role model. And that's why sometimes you get our young people going berserk. If one of them who is young in a different territory can perform, they are questioning themselves, why not here? So I think it is a challenge or a clarion call to our government and also our president to think along that line. Because if you see the way Traore did decide these issues, among others, the guy decided to ban exportation of unrefined or raw gold to the Europe. At the same time, if you get the way that guy is working, there are so many raft of measures is given out to ensure the Burkina Fasos are working. Another one he did give out is the fact that he ensured that military base of France in Burkina Faso is not tenable. He told them to go. Because literally, even if you check Kenya,
You go to Nanyuki, it is like Nanyuki's Britain. Why must that one be? Yet we are over 60 years old. Even the Blue Republic, the Rainbow Republic of South Africa of 94, when Mandela assumed power, they are even surpassing us. Why must that one be? So I think there are things Mheshimiwa Ruto should do. He will ensure that is evoking his degree as the president and ensure this country is running. Two, I will want to ask Kenyans to think about hygienic politics. We need to do clean politics. When I talk of hygienic politics, what is my reference point? When Mheshimiwa Rais has indicated toward China, the main important thing they did negotiate out is how they are going to fund some of our projects that are done through PPP or intergovernment arrangements, either it is concession or public partnership arrangement. From the time he cancelled the contract given to the Chinese, the France government, of working the dual carriageway of Rironi from Nairobi, Nakuru, going the other end at a tune of 180 billion. He signed another one with the China yesterday. So you see, I get perplexed when you check the experts or Kenyans commenting. They are against this, and yet you are a young economy. The time when Thika Superhighway was being built from 2009 to 2012, Kenyans did raise issues, and that one equally was done by a loan at a tune of 32 billion. So basically, when something that is going to help me, you argue it is negatively, it is like we don't think of having positive what? Or hygienic politics. People just think when it is us, others are complaining. When it is them, everybody's quiet. The same aspect, I'm talking as somebody who is a bit mature. I did also followed up when Kasarani Stadium was being built. That's more international stadium. That one was 1987, built at a tune of 8.7 billion. You realize some quarter of Kenyans were complaining that instead of President Moi building the stadium, Kenyans are having more equal issues to be attended to. So I think basically we need to think along that line and to evaluate ourselves and to help one another. I repeat, when we do hygienic politics, more so, we are cognizant, however much sometimes we bullish the young people. We tell them Gen Zs cannot have the way, but really they can have the way if they are organized. Because it is the truth being told. If you have the current crop of leaders we have today, even if we replace Ruto, we are doing nothing. Because let me just say, not unless we think about Kalonzo Musyoka, not that I'm supporting him, but how do you evaluate profile of a leader? Kalonzo served in Moi's government for 23 years. If you evaluate Kalonzo very well, he doesn't have that enormous wealth. With the Moi's regime, owning a land was only requiring you to be a baddie. You become a darling to him, he gives you the whole chunk of land. But Kalonzo did manage to do that. That one tells you he doesn't have appetite for the public resources. And that one to me tells me, if you talk of the whole crop of leaders, if you are not talking about Ruto, then you need to think about Kalonzo. But if we leave them all, we need to come up with a young person to lead this country. We let that young person mess up this country, then we think of something different. But when you tell me you tell me Davadi, you tell me Matiangi, you tell me Sijui wa Eugene Wamalwa, you tell me Jeremiah Kioni, these are deceptive leaders. They've been there for long. There's nothing they can offer. Like now, I can get young people are really proud or they are very happy with Mheshimiwa Matiangi. But now, one of the pertinent things Kenyans are talking about as a vice, one of them is corruption. Matiangi oversaw when his boss, Amboni President Uhuru Kenyatta then, coming to the broad daylight and saying Kenyans are losing 2 billion every year, every day. He was there. And by virtue he is an internal security minister, a cabinet minister, we are told is managing a discipline force that is working with the law and order. And so, even economic crime is a crime. You don't abate it, there's no law and order being upheld. Two, we did see under Matiangi's watch, young people, some of them were being dumped in where? In Rivayala, Oldonyo Sabuk, name them. But now, Kenyans will become warthog very fast. We've forgotten all this. So today, Matiangi has been packaged as some product that is very important to us. I can only challenge young people. If really you people, you are bored of the leadership of Mheshimiwa William Ruto, and you have what it takes to change it, and you feel you can change it, it is only moral you come up with somebody different, because if numbers don't lie, I believe with the numerical strength, if all factors are kept constant, you can manage it. But we should not remove a gecko from an office and bring a python in the name of that guy has a different name. Like now, Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, when he brings in Matiangi, tell me, what value do you think we are going to have? Hakuna. So mimi ningependa niseme, instead of balkanizing the presidency, let us start going institutional wise. If it is KRA, we jump that KRA. If it is county government of Omollo, the governor and his office must tell us why they are fleecing our money. Because if you check it keenly, there's nothing we are talking about. In fact, they are giving us content to debate every day. So according to me, gentlemen, I really appreciate the work the Fifth Estate is doing. You are doing a very modest work. And in fact, going forward, I'm foreseeing the social media overtaking the media, the community. Because currently people do not have time to watch main media streams. In fact, if I might be honest, it is only social media that today is not biased. Main media streams are already hijacked. They want to give the public what they think is befitting them. And so, mimi nitasema, kama wananchi watukufu, we need to think so fast and decide positively and think as a family. Not think of me being a Luo, you being a Kuyu, you being a Kamba. Right now, I'm doing a release. I've not asked you how many Luos are here. I've not asked how many Kyuks are here. Because at the end of the day, we symbiotically coexist. Hakuna mtu anayesaishi peke yake. But the buck stops with Mheshimiwa William Ruto. And the way Kenya is, Mheshimiwa William Ruto will never have peace until such a time he will start exercising the decree of the presidency. There are some things he doesn't even need to debate. Let him do it. Whatever outcome that is going to come, as long as he means well for the general public, I think the result will be seen after that. Thank you very much for your time. Mungu awabariki. I think tuta proceed from there.
We have a question. We are seeing now Raila, the ODM party leader Raila Omollo has commented on James Orengo.
Yes.
So what's your take on that? Because people are saying that Orengo should be removed from ODM or he should even be impeached.
Okay, thank you very much. Over the issue of James Orengo and Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga, the other day I did say there is a game, we should not jump into that game pasipo kujua ni game gani. I think, let me tell you from where I sit, because passionately I follow ODM issues. Mbali ya kwamba I'm one of them, but I'm not in the inner circle. What Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga has done is what a sensible and mature person should do. Today, if I disagree with my wife, and people sees there's a disagreement, one of us has gone public. I think if you are intelligent enough, you wait for your wife to come back to the house, you discuss that thing at family level. Already Luo Nyanza is charged, reasoning being whatever Raila said to us is law, even if it doesn't call for press conference, but his body language, we decide by that body language. So, from the way James Orengo and Mheshimiwa and Professor Nyong'o are talking, from where we sit, we think they are falling apart to the Wamunyoro side. And I think you know how Kenyans behave. If there are two protagonists, and one side you try to talk negative, correcting something that is there, they'll think you are supporting the opponent. And so, I think what Raila has just done does not mean he agrees with Orengo, or does not mean he disagrees with Orengo. He's just trying to quell it so that the general public leaves that debate. It is not their game. Raila and Orengo, they're gonna sort that mess themselves. I think that's the way I'm seeing it.
Okay, I only have one question, but
yes.
I think it's out of politics. We are seeing that the Gen Zs, they created an image saying that Raila should rise as a pope. And also you have seen some of the leaders have come out clearly and they say that the Gen Zs should not do that. So what's your take? How can you address Gen Zs?
What I can say, the problem of the young people has not started today. Just as we say, most of these things, life is progressive. They somewhere aren't started beating us. And so we cannot holistically say that Gen Zs are wrong or right. According to me, one, you know what is needed for somebody to be a pope. Leave alone the Catholic fraternity. Raila has never identified very holistically with a religious setup. He is a church goer. And so when you insinuate that Raila should do what? Go and vie for a pope. Really, hiyo ni kumkejeli. But the buck stops with them, we leave it at that. Yes.
Okay, now we are seeing that you are supporting President William Samoei Ruto.
Yes.
And most of the people are accusing him that he sent us a boy called Sifuna on X. He created a tweet saying that I'm the fifth, I must go. So what's your take on that?
What I can tell you, there's one fact you people need to know. Sometimes, if you are very keen on how I talk, I tend to use contemporary examples. And that's why many times when I talk, you see me bringing in family issues in my debates. Let me tell you, when today, like your age, the way I can see your ages, even though I cannot validate how old are you, but I classify you as young people. Your adrenaline is still very fast. I get my wife with a man, sometimes I'll only make noise, then we reconcile. You get your wife with a man, you'll chop off the head. What does one say? Your adrenaline is still very fast and you are hot. Sifuna, I can only classify as one young chap who is intelligent, given opportunity. He has to execute what age mandates him. He's still young, and so what is doing to me, is normal. We did have, you are talking about Sifuna today. In our history, we did have Ababu na Mwamba. You know what the law says when you are taking out of office. Ababu na Mwamba defied Mheshimiwa Rais Kibaki in parliament. Alleges to Raila Omollo Odinga, who is not the president. So how do you justify that? If we are going what the law says, that is treasonable. Okay. But Mheshimiwa Kibaki and the government assumed it.
Okay, we have seen that yesterday the DAPK Eugene Wamalwa said that they will support Gen Z coming June this year demonstration. What advice do you have?
Mheshimiwa Eugene Wamalwa is someone guy who is just an opportunist. What I can say about Eugene, what is talking there is populist. Because when you are supporting somebody, one, he doesn't have money. Not unless he's talking on behalf of somebody. Not that he doesn't have money per se compared to me. He's better than me. But he doesn't have money to sponsor movement. So not unless he's somebody's mouthpiece. That also I don't even believe it. This issue of Gen Z, I did tell you the other time. Gen Zs will not be handled as quails. I was giving you the example of quails because you saw it the other day. We have political class in Kenya who only wants to look for a loophole, then they capitalize on it. So they've taken our young people to be a disparate lot. So what they do, anything coming when they want to have their political scores, then they rope in the young people. Like the other day you saw Malala. What Malala was doing, mbali ya kwamba what was done there is normal, but is we're doing a wrong thing with you cannot radicalize young people, and your kid is not there. Yes.
Mheshimiwa, allow me to ask you a question.
Yes.
On matters one, Governor of Trans Nzoia, George Mutembei.
Yes.
The leader of the Tawe movement.
Yes.
Now, there is a lot of things that are being spoken in regards to this guy and his affiliation to the Mutembei nation and how he has been talking about the president and opposing some of the policies that the president has laid out.
Yes.
One of them being the waving away of the verification of the people from along the Somalia border to get ID cards.
Yes.
And that being led to a certain discussion the other day in the floor of the House of the Parliament, where the member of Parliament of the DAF, Farah, and one Junet Mohammed, they called upon the president and the whole house to kick Mutembei out of this country. What is your take on that in matters of, political kukubaliana kisiasa na kukubali kila mtu kulingana na maoni yake?
I'm very proud of that question. I did talk about political hygiene the moment I started. Siasa ni mapambano ama ushindani ya hoja. It is only disagreement in ideologies, but it is not enmity. But you see, some facts are always right. hatujakomaa, we are not mature democratically, hatujakomaa kidemokrasia, and that's what is calling for. Whenever somebody is having divergent opinion, you feel that person should just be made to go to exile, or you kill that guy. Are you getting that? Yeah. So to them, what Mutembei is saying is not friendly to them per se. Reducing the verification process of ID acquisition to the guys in the Sahel area is not bad, if at all it is good intention. Are you getting that? Because these are our brothers, they also have to have validation. Can you do you know why the Sudanese cannot get employed here? Because we've not given the opportunity to have legitimacy. Their being here is not legit government wise. Are you getting that? And there are so many Somalis who've been given birth here, they've stayed here for long, so they are validly Kenyans by virtue of birth. But then they cannot be given that based on the verification process. So according to, if the verification process is not uplifted, it is not lifted with ill intentions, then it is not right. But if it is done with the good intention, it is okay. Isipokuwa, one thing I have to tell you, politics of Kenya is not hygienic. Leave alone the verification of the being Kenyans. They have gone as far as allowing those who've been in the camp for the last 20 years to be Kenyans today. They are in a tune of population index of almost 3 million. Why is this one coming here at this point in time? So as a politician, you'll read mischief in it. So the Faras and the Junets might talk about that, basing the argument of them being marginalized. But at the same time, in other quarters, at one point, it is used to score some politics. I'm a politician, and from where I sit, I can tell you, giving those people opportunity to be Kenyans, one reason is to score political equation. Because like now, you realize Kenya, to manage elections, it has to go with the resources and the numbers. Resources, you might not talk much, but what you can talk about much is numbers don't lie. Are you getting that? So with the numbers don't lie, our denominator who dictates the election of this country, that's our Kikuyu brothers. Their numbers can threaten anybody who is yearning for the seat and is having negligible numbers. So some of these things, Mutembei might be right, but so you don't expect the opponent to go the Mutembei way. Yes. Let's proceed.
Thanks.